With adulteration being endemic and a pandemic of contamination of mind and matter, who makes the medicine I take is a valid question. Who makes the meaning of quality, safety, and efficacy matters. The science and practice of caring. Follow the science or be a good practitioner of the scientific method. These are some of the questions in my mind as I embark on sharing my experiential learning with you, which I call professional and systems lessons hermetically sealed in an elixir bottle. After the sulfonylamide elixir tragedy in 1937, the Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act, which was in the works for many years, was rushed into enactment in the US. And now we have, since 1938, the Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act. Adulteration is a very specific meaning in that act. Non-compliance with CGMP is adulteration. Whether you meet or not meet specification, that's a secondary question. A tiny pharmacy is able to detect contaminations, dangerous contaminations in products that have been quote unquote approved by US FDA, meet compendial requirements, and have been guaranteed by the corporate quality management system. How come? Why are we repeating the diethylene glycol contamination killing babies still? The business model for a small pharmacy in the US is to provide added assurance of quality of the products they sell and dispense. That is, to go beyond corporate, regulatory, and compendial assurances to provide additional assurances by testing and checking the quality of the products they sell and dispense. So what does it mean that this small pharmacy has to reject more than 10% of the batches? Previously, I said that I believe we have a pandemic of contamination. This provides an evidence to support my belief, and in gathering evidence to support one's beliefs, we become factual. We move towards knowing. Believing and knowing are important considerations to make smart decisions. As a grandfather today, do I trust the institutions which I was part of, such as FDA? I am concerned. We have a huge problem of collapsing trust in the agency. Professor Harvey Risch from Yale University says he has lost complete trust in the FDA. Others say FDA stands for Fraud and Deceit Association. Why are we in this situation? Fake it till you make it is not good. That was the lesson of an effort of the Institute of Medicine in the US, which has since 1999 worked towards improving the quality of healthcare. To err is human, yes, but repeating errors is a mistake, and a mistake is a sign of immaturity and we have an immature system, regardless of the years of training, certification, licensing, doctorate degrees, or fellowships. It doesn't matter. Maturity doesn't depend on your degrees. Maturity depends on your ability to learn from your error. Nothing is perfect, but making a mistake is a sign of human immaturity and a system immaturity. We live and work in systems, socio-technical systems. Maturity of our systems is reflected in our maturity, the maturity of the population. It is easy to blame the system, but the time has come for us at every level of the system to take responsibility to improve the system. And if we are able to improve at every level of the organization, of the system, simultaneously, synergistically, we improve the system. How do we do that? Today, it appears the world has gone mad. We are at the brink of Armageddon, the feared world war that ends all war. We repeat those words again and again. We go through cycles again and again. As the systems are destroyed, the financial, economic systems get destroyed because we have to reset. The systems have failed. In this reset mode, we are shifting the paradigm. The question, paradigm shifts when we learn or vice versa. Remember, nothing is perfect. Errors will occur. Errors of commission, that means non-compliance to the rules and regulation, and errors of omission is our negligence. Errors will occur, but if we repeat an error, it becomes a mistake. Mistakes are when errors reoccur and a sign of ineffective corrective and preventive action. And we rely on the phrase root cause unknown and move on. No, no, no. Root cause cannot be unknown in a system that has a claim to quality, safety, and efficacy. Maturity relates to human development, individual as well as system. And it is a behavioral response to an unfavorable situation when we are afraid, when we are anxious, when the justice is not being delivered or is delayed to an extent that the meaning of justice is lost. We need a paradigm shift. Scientific training and experience to assure effectiveness, fairly and responsibly was a phrase inserted into the FD&C Act in the year 1962 after the thalidomide tragedy. I could have been a thalidomide baby based on my date of birth. Shifting paradigm changes our reality and the way we acquire knowledge and our selection and justification of methods which are supposed to be valid. Paradigm to ontology, to epistemology, to methodology, to valid methods that we need to use. Scientific method in and of itself needs to be validated in how we use it in our system locally and globally. What is a paradigm shift? What is a paradigm? A paradigm is a mindset, worldview, the beliefs, assumptions, and theories underpinning the methodology of a particular scientific subject. It is not subject to testing or justification. We move on. We don't verify its validity again and again. And our methods, whether invalid and valid, remain hidden under layers and layers, such as, and we cannot get to the root cause then. A revolution is needed to shift the paradigm. In political and scientific development, the sense of malfunction that can lead to a crisis is a prerequisite for a revolution. The revolution will be complete when the language is perfect. The language is the key to learning, the key to understanding, the key to making sense. We are makers of meaning, and how we make meaning determines our reality, our validity, and our goodness. A paradigm shift is fundamental change in approach and underlying assumptions. We have gone through what we call industrial revolutions 1, 2, 3, and we are in the midst of Industrial Revolution 4.0. Each of these revolutions, the leadership has been typically the imperialists who have taken advantage of their technology and know-how through intellectual property to ensure that they rule the world. Now, Industry 4.0 poses the challenge is a small cohort of imperialists are likely to rule the world, enslaving the rest of humanity with the use of artificial intelligence and so forth, leaving most of the human population with a label of a carbon footprint, useless eaters. Do you want to live in a world of being useless eaters, a carbon footprint? No. So this is the time to wake up. Some humans continue to develop, but variably. Many do not. Education and training is needed, but it is not the whole answer. Experiential learning is key to human development. And the education system we inherited, particularly in India, Pakistan, and the after independence, essentially ensured us to remain compliant within the system, not challenge the system, not to ask questions about the assumptions inherent in the system. And therefore, few of us can challenge and improve the system. It is time to go beyond this stage. It is time to overcome our immunity to change. A phrase that Professor Keegan at Harvard University has progressed through his theory of adult human development, constructive theory of adult development, outlines 5 orders of consciousness. First stage is impulse control. Control your anger. Second stage is get over your imperialist tendencies, being a control freak. The third stage is socialized mind. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. The fourth stage is be self-authored. That is when we begin to appreciate systems. Self-authorship of your SOPs, of your plans, of your procedures, of your policies is a ticket to continuous development. Can you self-author the SOPs and be confident and provide assurance that it is valid? To give others assurance of quality with integrity, you first need to be self-assured. And self-authorship is the first step in your journey to self-transformation. I have talked about the constructive theory of adult human development in the context of quality management system. For instance, in this 2017 paper, How to Break the Pharmaceutical 2 to 3 Sigma Barrier. So please refer to this. I'm not going to get deeper into it in this talk, but all of my writings, papers are available on LinkedIn, and most of them are publicly available, so please refer to these papers. What can I do in an endemic of adulteration and a pandemic of contamination? Well, I want to be smart. A smart individual sets smart objectives and uses technology smartly. So smart cube are the three dimensions of being smart in an uncertain world. What is hidden in or hermetically sealed in an elixir bottle, hidden in plain sight, is our inability to learn from our experience. Being addicted to drugs and to social media, and being contaminated with fake news and inability to have critical thinking, to be able to have an open mind to let information flow and have the ability to analyze and decipher the difference between factual and fake information. And that is an advantage to those who have that know-how and technology to monitor us. And therefore, we are at a disadvantage in not continuously developing and maturing. And in the reset that we have ongoing right now of our financial, geopolitical systems, what I can do is to be the change I want to see in the world. I want to be self-transforming. If I self-transform and if I help others self-transform, then in a socio-technical system, as society matures, their systems mature. Technology is in the hands of a few at the moment. So balancing social and technological maturity is the key challenge we face at the moment. We live in an uncertain world. We don't know what we don't know, unknown unknowns. So we rely on our principles. Our intention has to be clean. Good intentions is the starting point, step number one. We know we don't know a lot of things, unknown unknowns. Here we expand our awareness, we research, and we learn in our expanded awareness. And we know what we don't know. So we have to be vigilant, and we make objective observations. And when we are understanding, we are standing under our education and training and validated knowledge, we pay attention. So these are different steps that occur simultaneously, seamlessly, and we have to consider the totality of evidence that comes from our principles, our awareness, our vigilance, and our attention. These are just some dimensions of human maturity. There are many other dimensions which I'm not talking about. And to be I smart is the journey within and without. Safe, modesty, actionable research and testing of our assumptions. That's our I aspect of to overcome our immunity to change. With our maturity, we can set and agree upon corporate or team objectives which are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. And we use technology, which is smart technology, which means the technology in and of itself can be self-monitoring, analysis, reporting technology. So if we bring these three elements together, we have a way to understand and to make sense simultaneously, understand what we know and make sense of all other things under which we situation which we know things. What specific steps can I take now to overcome my immunity to change? To overcome your immunity to change, you need a adaptive goal. You need to learn adaptive learning, to learn from experience. Let me give you an example. I'll take my case. What is my adaptive goal? Anger management. Why do I get angry? When do I get angry? Particularly in a professional context. I get angry when an ex-FDA starts to lose trust. I get angry because I fear the safety of medicines my grandchildren will take. So, what am I doing currently? I'm removing the fear, doing the research I need to do to be sure the medicines my family takes are safe, of quality, and effectiveness. I'm not relying on anybody else. I do the basic research for the medicines I take, my family takes. But that takes a lot of investment of time. What do I fear or worry? I just told you about. I fear and worry about safety of my grandchildren. What are my competing interests? Is the time necessary to do the research on the safety, efficacy, and quality of the medicine. And the big assumption I have is there is data available, which is often not the case. The transparency in the systems is low. So how do I overcome my anger in this current situation is really the key adaptive goal. And how do I solve that? Design space is a concept I introduced in the ICHQ8 document. And the space here is the space between stimulus and response. As the space between stimulus and response diminishes, I react. I need to expand that space between my stimulus and response and replace reaction with research. And to do research, I need to invest time and effort. And I have to confront the big assumption of availability of valid information. And that begins this circle of anger again, because when you don't find that information, you get angry again. So that is the circle that I get trapped in with my anger management. And the competing commitments is the time and effort needed to do the research. So SMART in this case is safe, modesty, research, and testing of assumptions. Safety of medicines, food for my family. Modesty is the space that I create in doing the research. R is the research, and testing of assumptions is the assumptions that I never challenged before. I challenge those assumptions now. Principles for unknown unknowns, to awareness of unknown knowns, to vigilance of known unknowns, and attention for known knowns, integrated with feeling safe, not afraid of dying is one fear, for example. Being modest and committing and creating space for research and testing of assumptions on beliefs is a way to improve, develop, and mature. And in practicing these, from principles to attention to safe to testing in an integrated manner repeatedly, and authoring and sharing this, giving experience to the meaning, such as, for example, my Smart Shepherding Practice newsletter on LinkedIn, I work to validate this procedure. So in a sense, what I have tried to share with you today in this talk, which builds on all my previous talks, which are available on YouTube, SlideShare, as well as my writings on LinkedIn and my technical scientific presentations in journals and trade media. What I've tried to share with you today is the notion of what is immunity to change and how I am learning to overcome my immunity to change. And I placed this discussion in the context of lessons sealed hermetically in an elixir bottle, which simply is the notion that our education and training was that we inherited have not emphasized or not provided us the tools necessary to continuously develop and mature, to be able to challenge the systems in which we live and work. That needs to change now. And I shared with you specific steps to be smart, smart, to overcome your immunity to change. I hope this has helped you. This is a work in progress. You have to develop your own procedures for overcoming your immunity to change at your level. And I cannot recommend this method to you. I can only recommend to you is be principled, expand your awareness, be vigilant to observe things, and pay attention to what you know is true. And the SMART objectives is the business methodology, which is very well known. Smart technology is rapidly expanding. You have to be smart here too. And to do that, you have to overcome your immunity to change. I thank you for your attention, and I wish you practice vigilance to observe the relevance of this discussion in your context. I wish this will expand your awareness and remind you of the principles. First, do no harm is the stage on which we stand. iSmart is an integration of smart individuals, smart objectives, and smart technology. This is my current practice, and it is based on my insights based from academia, FDA, industry, and the National Institute. Thank you for listening.